Hello and good morning. If you tuned in just a second ago, you'll realize I pressed the wrong button, but never mind. So my name is Steve Pugh. It's Friday, the 7th of October. And what I do every Friday morning is do a bit of a live stream where I talk about interesting topics from the week. Please feel free to get involved in the chat. So if you get involved on LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or any of the others, if you kind of comment, it should actually pop up here as well. So I love it when people get involved and almost tell me a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you kind of do, and just kind of get involved with the content is really kind of cool as well. So my name's Steve Pugh. I have something called the Roadmap MBA Business Course, which looks a little bit something like this, which is a 216-page textbook, which basically combined with an online classroom sessions and online course and content basically helps you walk through how to grow your business or career. And we cover everything from your aims and ambitions through to your personal brand, business strategy, sales, marketing, even how do you maximize your exit as well. So we kind of cover everything you need to know to help grow a business. And it's really aimed for people who work in predominantly small businesses. And that's because often these kind of people need to have multiple skills, wear multiple hats within a business, where actually you could be a trained engineer, as I am, but you then, as you progress your career, you're asked to start to sell or write strategies or do different things to help engage with customers and grow businesses. And that is more prominent in smaller kind of businesses. So what we do is that we teach those skills. It's a CPD certified course, so there is credibility there as well. And then as a management consultant, these are things that I practice day in, day out for different people. And that's the kind of thing, that's what we do. And then the whole point of kind of how the course works is that people can ask questions. So basically, one of the things that I think is a limitation on a lot of online materials is that you can read books and that's great and that's fine and you can watch stuff on YouTube. But often the ability to actually ask questions and say, look, I don't quite understand how this works. Can you explain this to me again? How does that apply to my career? That kind of thing is what we do in the classroom sessions. So what I do on a Friday, I do this live kind of Q&A where I just talk about interesting stuff. And actually, I'd love to know if anyone what their views are on the Newcastle United takeover, which was announced yesterday. Please drop it in the chat. I'd love to kind of know. So on the Fridays, I kind of pick a few kind of key topics to talk about today. The first one is actually to do with, I guess it's your mission and what kind of makes you happy. But likewise, if you had £10 million in the bank, would you still do what you're doing today? I think that's a really interesting question. And actually what it does do, it relates to something called Ikigai, which we cover on the course, which is how you can almost find your vision and your purpose and that kind of thing. Next question is basically how to stop your career plateauing. A lot of people's careers start quite well and then at a certain point they kind of level off. And we're going to talk about that and almost how to, fight against that kind of thing. And then last but not least, there was just a bit of a comedy one actually to do this week about how I was rejected by both Vogue and GQ. Basically, I'll jump onto that one now. I actually wanted to advertise in both. The roadmap is now at the point where it's in 23 countries, which is quite cool. And I've now kind of started to build the foundations for what I want it to be. And now it's the marketing phase to kind of start pushing it out and telling people. And I always wanted to pick out what I saw as being the best publications and stuff to get involved in, real kind of prestige brands that would help both with the authority and expert and, helping to reach a new high level audience, but also social proof and that kind of thing. And basically, when I heard back from the people at Condé Nast, who are the kind of publishing company for it, because my stuff doesn't fit into lifestyle, fashion, food, makeup, and I think there was one other, basically they said no, which is fine. But what it did do, it just redirected me onto a different course. But again, when you want a catchy tagline to get people interested, I thought I would just mention it. But then likewise, it's also, I like to share my honest journey about stuff that I've been through and done this week and that kind of thing as well, just in case it's of interest to you. And then likewise, because we kind of go on this journey together with different people on the course, I'm always quite honest about stuff that I've done. Just checking the comments. Good morning, Simon. So Simon, yes, I am talking about the Newcastle United takeover. As an avid fan, what do you think? I know a lot of people are kind of torn between, obviously they want the investment, they wanted Mike Ashley out, but likewise they still are a little bit concerned about supporting someone who has human rights issues and links with corruption and that kind of thing. So I would love to know your comments and stuff as well. And Jonathan Coles, good morning. Thank you, and I appreciate the comments and getting involved. I think this is the first time you've commented on the stream. That's cool. And the other Simon, yes, I completely agree that basically I I think lifestyle was one of them, but either way, they said no. But what it all does mean though is that my marketing budget, which I was planning to spend on certain things, and again, one of the things we talk about is how you really want social proof. So actually, if the more credible a publication you can be featured in, the more weight that actually gives your message when you're trying to, tell people about stuff and how much they believe it. So I purposely picked two really premium publications, and at least for my first attempt, it wasn't for them. But what I am planning to do, especially when version 2 kind of launches, I'll contact the journalists directly and say, look, this is what I'm doing. If you're interested to talk about it, etc., and maybe go that angle as opposed to a purely paid advertising angle. But I also like to kind of just talk about what I'm doing and stuff, as you know. But it's good to kind of have you involved. So if my clicker works, is it going to work? Yes, it does. We made a change. I say we, I did. Was it last week, maybe the week before? Our classroom sessions, which we host 4 times a week, which is Tuesdays 3 p.m, Tuesdays 8 p.m, Thursdays 7 a.m. These are all UK times, and Fridays 12 midday. And the idea is that we help walk through the course, and if you have the textbook, we can go into different detail on different things. With a lot of people, we've actually run through the full modules on basically everything we need to do. And actually what that's done is it now means that we're almost in a bit of a holding pattern for the short term, just whilst I'm getting ready to launch version 2 and different stuff. But you're more than welcome to join just for 10 minutes to ask some questions, even if you're not on the course, just to say, look, I'm doing this in my career, I'm struggling for this, actually, what do you think, what could I do? And then, that is open to everyone. And even if you are on the course and you work through the roadmap about helping to grow your kind of business or career, I know that you're busy, so you don't have to commit to attending the same slot for 12 weeks in a row. You can drop in and out, or you can come to different sessions, and that's kind of cool as well. But the whole point is making it accessible so that it doesn't matter if you're a working parent, or you're in a different part of the world, or you have different time zones, or you're just busy one week. That's cool, and you can kind of just work around it. And the thing that I forgot to mention before as well is that when I mentioned about the course is designed for smaller businesses, because often people have to wear multiple hats and do different roles within a business. It's also true for entrepreneurs. So especially if you're going to start a new business, you kind of need to be good at everything to know how to articulate your product and your service and kind of get it out there. Because if you don't kind of do your promotion and stuff, basically nobody's going to know who you are and nobody's going to buy your stuff. But I've got a good example from Fiona as well, who's on the course in today's session. But please get involved in the comments. I love it when you do. You've probably seen that it flashes up on screen. And if you've got any questions or anything, or even if you've got any questions that you want to drop in now, this is genuinely live. We're on 9:06 on a Friday morning. So please drop me the question and I'll certainly do what I can. So drop-in sessions, you're more than welcome anytime. On the website, we have all of the joining instructions. So actually there's links to, we do it over Zoom. So you, on the first main page of the website, scroll down, it'll say live drop-in classroom sessions, and then there's a link to join each session. It joins the Zoom room, simple as that. And then likewise, all of the time slots, including international time zones, are at the bottom of the first page. So you could be in Nigeria, Perth, LA, anywhere. You can see what time slots fit for you as well, which is quite cool. My next interview, because I've been really busy, I decided to take a little bit of a pause. I'm going to interview Laura Wood. Laura is a fantastic entrepreneur who has a great business, and it's all about accessibility, but it was inspired by her grandmother. And actually, obviously, in about 2 weeks, we're going to go into her story, and that's a Monday, 4 p.m. in the kind of usual slot. But what I again love to do is that it's to talk to real people with real businesses that you can kind of relate to, that again, or maybe at the start of their careers, that we can share the lessons and that kind of thing. That yes, you can see the Bill Gateses and Elon Musks and that kind of thing on YouTube and interviews that they've done. And yes, if I got the chance to interview them, of course I would. But I just want to, show you real people and almost walk through their journey. So I'm starting to line up stuff for the future as well. So Laura will be in about 2 weeks' time. It'll be a really, really good one. So hopefully you'll join us for that as well. And next, the other thing that I wanted to, and I've kind of done it in the past with Simon Rudd when I talked about Shy Burns, is to start to celebrate on the Friday morning session stuff that's really good that people on the course have done. So what I wanted to do was talk about something that Fiona did this week. And so Fiona comes to the 8 p.m. session on a Tuesday. And what we've mentioned and what I've mentioned previously on the live stream is that often when you're looking to launch a new business, you need to get it to the point where you've kind of, you know what it is you want to do, but you've found your niche, you know what makes you different, and almost how do you then start to articulate that niche and own that space so that then people recognize you as part of, the person that does that. So people call me the roadmap guy or whatever. But anyway, but how you kind of own that space. So when I saw some of Fiona's social media earlier in the week, it was actually this top one. It just really, it ticked all the boxes for me that I wanted to talk about, and I did get Fiona's kind of permission to do it. So what's really interesting, I know you can't quite see it on camera, so what you've got is two pieces of artwork. These are separate posts, obviously branded up to hair branding and stuff, which is quite cool. And the top one says, when did you last review all the recurring payments and direct debits going out of your business? And what I loved about this is that we talk about on the course, there's certain things that you want to do in your marketing and promotion to really get good engagement and actually catch the attention of the people that you're trying to talk about. And what she's really done here is both show that she understands the customer, so she understands what's important to them and things that they might be concerned about. Actually, she mentions something called a direct belief. So often we all have stuff that we think, but we don't always articulate that to other people. So actually there will be business owners, and she aims predominantly at business owners, and actually speedway riders, which I'll touch on in a second. But it's the point of people kind of always worry, oh, have I got too much money going out? Have I got control of the costs? That kind of thing. But she's tapping into something which is an innate belief for people that might see the post that will stop them and actually get engagement in a way that if she didn't have that, I think it's quite important. It's on brand. There's a clear kind of call to action with all of these, and actually within the text of each post, she kind of covers that really well. She makes it clear how she can help. So for instance, if you talk about a key topic, in this case, worried about payments going out of your business and controlling costs, it implies that she can help solve that, and almost starts to plant the seeds for people understanding innately what she can do to help their business. And actually, I thought it was really, really good. And then the other thing that she does is she's very regular and consistent with her posts. So another one that came out, and I'm going to touch on this in a second, was this bottom one. That when actually, this all links together better than I planned it will. Later on, when I talk about if you had 10 million quid, would you still do the same thing? What we're trying to do is actually look at how can you find something which is you're passionate about, that you love to do, that actually money no object, you would happily follow that mission and kind of do it moving forward. And when we did this exercise with Fina, one of the things we, I don't want to ruin the next segment, but you talked about the stuff that you love and what could you get paid to do, and actually lots of different kind of things. And basically she loves artwork. She loves drawing and painting and Celtic art and that kind of thing. But she also loves speedway in terms of, a sport. And then as well as that, she also speaks Polish as well. And basically speedway is one of the biggest sports in kind of Poland. So one of the things that we'd looked at about maybe an avenue that she could follow for her business is that she has like a finance accounting type background. Would actually, when you put down the dream job, if what could you do if you got paid to kind of do it? And one of the ones that she said was actually to work for either a speedway team or for speedway professional riders to almost do their accounting and books, where she gets involved with the sport that she loves, but actually she's adding value in a way that other people can't necessarily do. So again, on this next social post, I don't know if you can quite read it on screen. No, you can't. It basically says, which would you rather do this weekend? Massive amount of paperwork or ride your speedway bike? And obviously for her key target audience, which is a professional speedway rider, or even a keen speedway enthusiast, etc., of course you want to do the thing that you love. You don't want to get bogged down to do the crappy stuff, which could be the paperwork. But again, it's a very, very good, very clever social media post, which taps into the core belief of her audience that they don't want to do paperwork, and actually says, look, I can help with that, and it's a very, very good piece of marketing. So I just want to say, Fina, congrats. I think it's excellent. Well done. It's a pleasure to kind of have you on the course. And what I want to do this week and future weeks is just celebrate things that people do and all the small wins within this segment, to both show good practice and that kind of thing, but actually share and talk about people on the course as well, which I thought was quite cool. So well done, and yeah, hopefully that's quite cool. So I'm going to get a very quick cup of tea just because my voice is a little bit sore. I think I had a really sore throat a few weeks ago, but I've kind of recovered from that now. And now I'm going to jump into the kind of key topics for today. But good morning, everyone. If you're new to joining us, it's 9:13. This is live. And what we do is that we talk about different business topics and different things that might be of interest to you, they might not, but they all get clipped up and go onto YouTube on Steve Pugh Roadmap MBA if you're ever interested. So the first topic for today is a question, and it's a genuine question, and it's if you had £10 million in the bank, or whichever currency that you wish, would you still do what you're doing today? So I think this is a really interesting topic just because we all work for a predominantly, long period of time in our lives. And often when you kind of get to my kind of age, you get to about the 40s, you do worry about what's the impact you're having. It's when people often have midlife crisis. But actually a lot of people want to feel that they have social purpose and stuff within their lives. But actually, how do you create that? How do you craft your jobs? If you remember Rob Baker from a few weeks ago in an interview, we talked about job crafting and stuff. But basically, if the answer is no, that you wouldn't, money on no object, would you still do the same thing that you're doing today? There are things that we can do about it, and we did it with Fiona. I've done it, and actually this is my thing, which I'll talk about. But actually there's so much stuff that we can do to really help you, guide you on that path, to really set you off, that I wanted to kind of talk about it today. And then what we're going to start doing for version 2 of the roadmap, this is a one-off kind of 2-hour session that we walk you through it properly to really help people guide their aims and ambitions and what do they want to do. Good morning. Yes, Philip. So one of my clients is Subsea Energy Solutions. Good morning. Who are 10 years old, technically on Sunday, but we're having a celebration today. So thank you for getting involved, Philip. Yes, and always 10 years is not a small win. Obviously what we do on the roadmap is help people grow their kind of businesses, and actually anyone that can get to 10 years in a very competitive, challenging market as offshore energy is definitely worth celebrating. So definitely well done, and we'll grab some cake and stuff on that one anyway. So back to if you had £10 million, and Philip, this is true for you as well. Would you still do what you do today? Money, no kind of object. So what I'm going to do is talk about a concept called Ikigai, which is basically out of Japan. And basically what it means, it's all about finding your purpose in terms of your beliefs and your basically what you do in your life. So if you want to Google it, spelling isn't always my strong point. And what we do is that we innately ask 4 main questions, which basically you ask yourself. That actually what we're trying to do is find the combination of these to help use that as a way to find meaning in your life and what is it that you actually want to kind of do, but actually help guide decisions and stuff to help you basically live a content and happy life. So the first one, and I'm bound to ruin the circles and not make them all line up, so please forgive me, is basically if you were to make a list of stuff that you love doing, what would it be? For Fiona that I mentioned before, she loves motorsport, she loves speedway, she loves art, she loves all these kind of things. So actually we did this and we crafted it down. I love using my brain, I love talking to people, I love solving problems. And actually I love creative stuff. So actually I've done this, and basically the roadmap is my, this is my journey, this is my passion for the next 20, 50 years. To really kind of go out and help more people and do stuff. But basically make a list of everything that you love to do, and don't put any other limitations on it. It could be playing music, it could be playing video games, it could be whatever you want, but actually just make a big list of everything that you love to do. Next, what does the world need? So for instance, this now does relate to kind of question 1. But actually, so for instance, I believe that there's a need out there to help people in their business or career, to give them access to information to help them grow, because I don't think it exists in an accessible format which people can access for free, but actually really simplifies complex stuff down and makes it easy and accessible to people. So I believe there's a genuine need for the roadmap and what I'm trying to do. Fiona, again, I'm going to keep picking on you, but it's in a good way. It's good publicity, hopefully. She believes that speedway riders and the fans and the culture there's a niche for the artwork that she wants to create, but likewise that a lot of professional sports teams don't necessarily always have the same skill set and stuff to look after their accounting and books and run an efficient team, that she thinks there's a gap there to really help boost her career and where she can take her business. But the point is actually come up with a list of all the things that the world needs that relate to things that you love doing. Next, What is it that you're good at? Because likewise, if I wanted to become a professional singer, I'm tone deaf. I cannot sing at all, and that's no good. So for instance, I can't necessarily, it doesn't matter how much I love singing, if I'm no good at it, it's very difficult to build a career around it. What you could do is do a Simon Cowell and still be involved in music management and other stuff. But actually you still have to be inherently good at what you do. And don't forget, this also includes what can you learn to be good at. So coming on courses, you can learn to get better at marketing or better at sales or strategy or entrepreneurship or playing the saxophone or singing or whatever. But the point is, when you're looking to find something to follow your career and path, actually, you kind of need to be good at it. And then last but not least, I'm going to do there. What is it that you can actually be paid for? Because again, there's so much stuff out there that you could create this. You love using your brain and tech and live streaming and talking to people and whatever, and create a business course. But actually, if nobody would ever pay for it, you could still do it as a passion project, which is quite cool. But again, there has to be something, an angle that you can actually build a business around. But what we're essentially trying to do is find the combination of all of these, and this is a 2-hour kind of workshop that we would do to really walk through each of these questions and what it means and how you tackle it. And what we're looking to do is find that bit in the middle, which is basically what we want to do is tick all 4 of these boxes. And basically, if we can find something that you genuinely love to do and you really enjoy it and you're passionate about it, the world actually needs it and is willing to pay for it, and you're good at it. What you can then do is find a way to build your career or business or whichever around your passions and actually build something that makes you happy and content. And actually just this is how you can help build a kind of, a long-term passionate business that, you could follow for the next kind of 20, 30 years. This is actually, it's an exercise called Ikigai. We do it on the course. Version 2 of the course, which if you come to the classroom sessions, you can do it now, or when I launch the new one in a few weeks' time, it'll be part of the kind of new textbook. But it's a really good concept, and actually it's then my belief that even if I had £100 million in the bank today, I would still do this. I would do it at a bigger level. I would have a bigger studio with a bigger team, and I'll be able to do it better and faster, but I'd still do this. And it's just a really interesting concept to talk about, and I would love to know, if you had 10 million quid in the bank today, would you still go to work? Would you still do the same thing? Or would you craft your business or lifestyle to spend more time racing cars or with the family or traveling or whichever? Because there are genuinely things that we can do. And then the roadmap is designed to help you go through that process to actually achieve it as well. So what we on? So we're on 9:21. Good morning, Philip, again. I appreciate the comments. And he's completely correct that you need to play to your strengths. That again, I can't sing for anything. So there's no point me trying to become a professional singer. But this is why you need to find the combination of all 4 things to kind of make it work. And then likewise, imagine that you didn't do something that you loved, but actually you can get well paid and the world needed. I'm going to say garbage man, but it could be anything. And you're good at it, so you get paid for it. The thing is, I'm really well paid. But if you hate it, you're not going to live a happy life. And that's why it's really important to start with that question first and almost, understand yourself and your aims and your drivers and that kind of thing. And it was just an interesting topic that I wanted to talk about, but I'd love to know your comments and stuff as well. And then likewise to anyone else that kind of might have just joined the stream more recently, we'd also love to know any progress that you've made this week. So Philip, we won't talk about our kind of stuff, but anyone else, what have you done this week? It's all the small wins that have really helped you grow your business or just take that little step forward. I always put myself out there first. So one of the big things that within the book and within the course, I talk about and I share and I celebrate good concepts that I've seen from different parts of the world. Simplify it down, but do that kind of thing, because my hope is that if I can save you the effort of having to read a 400-page book to understand the real core message, that can save you a ton of time. That actually that's what I do. But for instance, I've gone out to get legal advice just to check that I'm allowed to do that. And I'm pretty sure I am, because I'm not taking credit for the work. And it's no different to writing a blog post or a review or whichever. But I still want to check, because again, in the course, I think it's in module 6, when we're talking about risks, might be module 4. When you actually start to map out what the top 5 risks to your business, One of mine was basically a legal challenge where someone say, oh, Steve, you can't talk about that. So what I wanted to do was just get all my stuff checked, all my ducks in a row, so that then when I launch and try and grow this internationally, which is what I'm going to try and do, I'm more confident that I'm in a safe place, which is quite cool. But if you've had any other successes and stuff this week, please kind of drop them in the chat. I'd love to know. And it is important to celebrate those small wins as well, which is quite cool. Okay, next I'm going to jump on to, I think this is quite topical, and it's how to stop your career plateauing. So I think a lot of people resonate with this, that they go through their career and often starts quite well. And people can leave school at 16, they can go to university, they can be a lifelong learner. There's lots of kind of different stuff that you do. But essentially, if you kind of plot it out, you start here. And what did I do as the axis? I'm going to say money, but actually it doesn't really matter what that is. And then time. We all kind of start well, hopefully, you know, as in we all arguably finish school at 16 in the UK at the same time. And some people leave there and then their career kind of plateaus at some point, and that could be by choice, it could be to do with family, it could be whichever. Other people might, you know, accelerate their career a bit more, maybe go to university or become a chartered accountant or whichever, and actually, you know, but at some point people's careers tend to plateau. And the question is, how do you actually help it so that your career, if you want it to, can keep going up? And how do you actually tackle that issue that a lot of people struggle with? Good morning. Sorry, I don't know how to say your name, but I completely agree. If you want to sell toys and make millions, how can you do that? There's lots of different ways that almost, it could be, how can you outcompete with Amazon? And there's lots of really cool stuff to do. But I really genuinely appreciate the comment on YouTube as well. And actually, I'd love to know more about the business. Where are you based? And then what we can do, we'll do it live on the stream, is actually ways that we can think through how to help you create the business to actually help you make millions selling toys. And actually we'll do it live now, which is quite cool, but I'll just kind of finish this one. But basically the question is, how do you stop your career plateauing? And actually, how do you get fulfillment and stuff from your life that you're really kind of happy? Basically, the first one for me is life choices. I think people often wonder, we all look at the multimillionaires or the billionaires and think, well, actually, you know, I'd love to do that. I would love to be worth $5 billion. But often you have to be willing to make the sacrifice and the life choices to actually put in the time and effort and the graft to create the brand and the sleepless nights and the business and the selling and that kind of thing as well. That's a really important issue that a lot of people whose lives, in their own opinion, maybe have leveled off a bit. To really look at the choices that they make and how much time do they put into things like personal development and things to really kind of help them, you know, grow. Next, after that, people that you see that really grow to the top have great drive and determination. Philip Stanyan is one of them. That basically, when you have a business and you have setbacks and stuff, it's always easy to give up when you are challenged or when things happen. But actually just being willing to keep battling on when you get criticized, to actually have a passion and a real feel for what you want to do, you have that. But next, what you really need is the skills. So for instance, if you are the world's best coder, you could make an absolute fortune in San Francisco or Silicon Valley or anywhere in the world, being, you know, creating apps and creating value from nothing. But the important thing is to create the next Facebook or whichever. You need the skills to be able to do that. That actually, if you have crazy ambitions to, you know, be the next Elon Musk. Elon Musk did not get to be who he is without solid fundamentals of knowledge on certain key topics. And actually, it's really important that your life decisions really do impact maybe committing the time to learn new stuff, to learn how to live stream, to learn how to do business strategy stuff or whatever. That actually it's how then you do that. And then the last but not least, it's actually just having the ambition to do it. I'm quite open that I'm pushing this as hard as I can, and I do want to grow this to be an international business in every country in the world. But actually, if you aim small, if you aim to create a business that might survive in its first year and maybe do quite well in your own town or city, that's great, but you're not going to, get discovered in San Francisco or Japan or China unless you really kind of put in place the fundamental things to access and broadcast to a lot of people. And that's where you need to basically do this kind of level. So, how to, in theory, stop your career plateauing. This is true at every level. And it doesn't matter where you are. You could be, you've done well in your career, you've got to a certain point, and you might feel like you've been going along at the same trajectory for maybe 5 years and your career's kind of slowed down. Basically, if you actually invest time in your skills and your ambitions, you actually change your mind about what is it that you want to do. Even at this point in your career, you can still make a massive change. You can decide to make the change to really help, fund that next part of your career. It could be to go for a new job. It could be to launch a business. It could be anything you want, to be honest. But the point is, you kind of need the ambition to do it. You need the skills to be able to kind of, implement, to launch the business or to step up in your career to operate at a higher level. But actually, often that does come down to the life choices to actually allocate an hour a week to work on personal development or whichever. And it's that kind of thing that we all go through our careers and at some point feel that it's plateaued. But the point is, it's to make the decision to make a change and then actually start to execute those behaviors, put the time, put the effort in, create stuff, share it with the world. And then, it might still not work, but at least you'll know you've kind of tried. And then often you can pivot and change and do stuff as well, which is quite cool. And it was an interesting topic I wanted to talk about, but I appreciate the comments. Yeah, Philip's exactly correct. Or get up, dress up, turn up and get on. It's true. There are days when you're struggling, but actually it's just worth kind of battling on. And I even watched an interview with Eddie Hearn, who's the boxing promoter, yesterday. It was the Diary of a CEO podcast. And one of the things he got from his dad was that if you have just a mountain of stuff to tackle, just get up an hour earlier and just crack on with it and almost just, execute is the really important thing. That often people that try hard, they're good intentioned and they work hard will be successful. So I just wanted to kind of talk about it. So what are we on? So we're on 9:30. I think I've covered most of my other stuff for this week. I'd love to know if you found any of the Ikigai kind of stuff interesting. For me, it's really important, and it will feature right at the start of the next phase of the course, that actually what makes everyone happy is actually doing stuff that you enjoy and that you're passionate and that you feel is making an impact in the world. And a lot of people, and more so with the slightly younger generations, everyone wants that. So one of the things I was never taught, I had to discover this for myself, was actually to learn those kind of things to actually kind of get to that point. So now what we're doing is building it into the roadmap to really help other people kind of make that next step in the journey. But then because we get to talk it through with other people on the course, in things like the drop-in sessions and whichever, you're more than welcome to come to any of these things, any of the classroom sessions. And what we'll do on the course is help you put in place we call them lead actions, but all the activities to help you go from wherever you are today to whatever your aims and ambitions are, and really help just walk you through that process, but actually have someone you can ask questions to and that kind of thing as well. So what we're on 9:32. I think I'm going to call it quits on that one. It's Friday, so have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend. If you've got anything exciting come up, I'll be working, editing and doing various kind of different stuff, but I must admit I enjoy it, so I don't really mind too much. In 2 weeks' time, we've got Laura's interview. I'm really looking forward to this one, and I've got some more kind of lined up as well. So my name's Steve Pugh. Thank you again for your time. Feel free to drop me a message anytime. And again, although I took it off the screen, I wanted a slightly clear kind of aesthetic, is that you can send questions at any point to questions@roadmapmba.com, or just drop me a message on socials. And I'm happy to talk about those kind of concepts in future weeks. So have a wonderful day. Have a great weekend. Hopefully I'll see you next week. All right, cheers guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.